I never thought I'd kill a man with kindness. But that's exactly what I did to my brother. Ethan slowly, sweetly, until he choked on the success he'd always sworn I'd never taste. It started with a whisper in a back alley clinic in Jersey. A desperate deal with shadows that swapped my broken body for one that gleamed like polished gold. And just like that, I wasn't Freya anymore. I was Victoria Hale, heiress to a tech empire, staring at my old reflection in the mirror like a ghost I'd buried alive. Forbes didn't call because of luck. They called because I'd engineered every step, every betrayal, to drag Ethan's doubts into the light and watch him burn. The rain hammered the windshield of the stolen cab as it rattled over the George Washington Bridge, New York City's jagged skyline swallowing us whole. I gripped the armrest, my new manicured nails digging into the cracked vinyl, while the doctor, Dr. Elias Crow, they called him in the underground forums, slouched in the passenger seat, chain-smoking camels like they were his last confession. "You sure about this, kid?" he rasped, his voice like gravel under tires. "Body swaps ain't like trading Pokemon cards. It's one way. You go in as Freya the failure. You come out as whoever the hell you pick. But the soul? That's the hitch. It lingers. Fights back." I laughed, a hollow sound that echoed off the dashboard. Failure. That's what Ethan had branded me since we were kids in that shitty Queens apartment. Mom's nursing shifts, leaving us to fend off the roaches and the rent collectors. "Fry, you're too soft for this world," he'd sneer, his Wall Street dreams already blooming while mine wilted in community college dropout classes. He'd clawed his way to junior partner at Goldman Sachs by 28, marrying up to some Vassar trust fund ghost named Lila, while I scraped by as a barista in Brooklyn, my MS diagnosis at 25 the final nail in my coffin of mediocrity. "Never gonna make it," he'd said at our last family dinner, toasting his bonus with a wink that cut deeper than the disease eating my nerves. But Ethan didn't know about the secret, the one I'd carried like a tumor since high school. It wasn't my MS that had derailed our lives, it was his. A hidden run he'd covered up, pinning the blame on me when I took the fall for him, drunk and underage behind the wheel of Dad's old Chevy. The accident that left Mom paralyzed? That was Ethan's accelerator foot, not mine. I'd confessed to protect him, the golden boy, and rotted in juvie while he got a slap on the wrist and a fast track to Ivy League redemption. Crow's Clinic was a converted warehouse in Newark, the kind of place where dreams went to die or mutate. Chain-link fences rattled in the wind, and the air reeked of ozone and regret. Inside, fluorescent buzzed like angry hornets over gurneys stained with God knows what. My target, Victoria Hale, 27, tech wunderkind, daughter of the late Harlan Hale, who'd built Hale Dynamics into a surveillance empire worth billions. She was everything I wasn't: poised, powerful, untouched by the grime of survival. A gala photo of her in Vogue had sealed it. Same height, similar bone structure, a canvas for the swap. Crow had sourced her DNA from a black market biopsy, ethically dubious. But hey, this was America, land of the free and the fatally ambitious. "You'll feel it like drowning," Crow warned, strapping me down beside her unconscious form, sedated with roofies slipped into her Veuve Clicquot at that charity auction. "The old you fights to stay. But push through, and it's yours." The machine hummed to life, a Frankenstein rig of salvaged MRI coils and neural inhibitors, humming with illegal voltage. Needles pierced my temples, and the world dissolved into static. I saw flashes, my hands, gnarled by MS tremors, overlaying Victoria's steady ones, Ethan's face. Laughing as he signed my juvie release papers, Mom's wheelchair, creaking under the weight of his lie. Then, a rip, like soul surgery without anesthesia, and I was gasping in Victoria's body, her silk blouse clinging to skin that wasn't mine. Across the room, my old shell twitched, eyes fluttering open to a stranger's horror. A crow unstrapped me, his grin yellowed and triumphant. "Welcome to the other side, Victoria." I stumbled to the mirror, tracing the sharp jawline, the cascade of auburn hair that screamed old money. Freya was gone, locked in that husk weed dump in the Passaic River come dawn. But as I flexed these new fingers strong, unscarred, a whisper echoed in my skull. "This isn't right. Give it back." Victoria's echo, faint but furious. I'd have to silence it, like I'd silence Ethan. The first week was a fevered dream of reinvention. Victoria's penthouse on the Upper East Side was a fortress of glass and granite, Hudson River views mocking the Hudson Yards slums I'd fled. Her calendar was a war zone, board meetings at Hale Dynamics, where executives in bespoke suits deferred to me like I was the second coming, brunches with influencers who name-dropped TED Talks, and nightly calls from her fiancé, Marcus Langford, a venture capitalist with a jawline like a Marvel hero and ethics as flexible as his yoga schedule. I played the part, voice modulated to her clipped Connecticut lilt. But inside, Freya seethed. Every step in Louboutins was a victory lap over the girl who'd limped through subway turns. Ethan's first ping came via Victoria's encrypted phone, irony, since Hale Dynamics specialized in spyware that could unravel governments.
"Vic?"
"It's Ethan, Freya's brother." Long shot. But she ghosted after that family thing. "You two crossed paths at Columbia? Any chance you've seen her?" I stared at the screen. Heart, or Victoria's heart, pounding like a bass drop at a Bushwick rave. Columbia.
"Yeah."
We'd crossed paths, in the sense that I'd stalked her feeds for months, mapping her life like a heist blueprint. I typed back, fingers flying with surgical precision. "Haven't heard from her in ages." "Everything okay?"
"She seemed
"Off last time we chatted."
off."
Understatement of the century. That bought me time. I dove into Hale Dynamics vaults, Victoria's retinal scan unlocking servers humming with petabytes of dirt. Harlan Hale hadn't built his empire on clean code. It was laced with backdoors into everything from NSA feeds to corporate espionage. And there it was, Ethan's skeleton, digitized and dangling. Emails from his Goldman days, bribing regulators for insider tips, photos from that hit and run, scrubbed from police files but cached in Hale's dragnet. The accident report I'd forged in juvie, my juvenile signature sealing the lie. But deeper, the cover-up's architect wasn't just Ethan. It traced to Harlan Hale himself, who'd pulled strings to bury it. Why? Because Ethan's mentorship at Goldman was a front for Hale's slush fund, laundering surveillance profits through Wall Street proxies. Ethan wasn't just my betrayer, he was Hale's pawn. And I'd inherited the board. The voice in my head grew louder at night, Victoria's ghost clawing for control. "You're a thief. This body isn't yours." I'd pop Ambien, chase it with Victoria's Macallan, and pace the penthouse, plotting. Revenge wasn't a bonfire, it was a slow smoke, choking the air until surrender was the only breath left. Step 1. Infiltrate Ethan's world. I RSVP'd to his firm's holiday gala at the Plaza. Victoria Hale, on the guest list like a venomous RSVP. The Plaza's grand ballroom glittered like a fevered hallucination, chandeliers dripping crystal over tuxedos and gowns that cost more than my old year's rent. Ethan spotted me across the foie gras canapes, his smile faltering like a glitch in his perfect facade.
Vic.
Didn't know you slummed it with the finance wolves. He air-kissed my cheeks, his cologne some overpriced Tom Ford, cloying as his charm. Lila hovered beside him, her diamond tennis bracelet winking like a warning shot, but her eyes lit up at my name. Hale Dynamics? Oh my god. Your facial rec software changed my life. Those anti-aging filters? Genius. I sipped my champagne flute, bubbles sharp on Victoria's tongue. Flattery will get you everywhere, Lila. But tell me, Ethan, how's family?
Freya's been.
Radio silent. His laugh was a bark, too loud for the string quartet's murmur. Fry? Same old dreamer. Told her Wall Street's no place for quitters. And poof, she vanishes. Probably chasing some barista fantasy in Brooklyn. The words landed like hooks in my gut, but I smiled. Victoria's megawatt beam. Dreamers build empires.
Ethan.
Quitters just manage them. His eyes narrowed. A flicker of something, guilt? Suspicion. Before he pivoted to schmooze a hedge fund whale. That's when Marcus cornered me by the ice sculpture, his hand possessive on my waist.
Babe.
You've been distant. Everything good? Distant? I'd barely skimmed the surface of his texts. Venture deals in crypto laundries. Mistresses in the Hamptons. But he was useful. Access to Ethan's inner circle. I leaned in, lips brushing his ear. Just plotting world domination. Darling. Care to join? He grinned, oblivious, as I slipped a hail bug into his cufflink, a micro-tracker that'd map every dirty dollar. Back home, the ghost whispered accusations. You're becoming him, ruthless. Empty. I ignored it, hacking Ethan's emails with Victoria's privileges. There, correspondence with Lila's father, a senator up for re-election, trading Hale tech for campaign dirt. And buried deeper, a folder labeled F Project. Freya Project. My blood ran cold. It wasn't just the accident. Ethan had sold my juvie records to Hale for a leg up, twisting my confession into a psych profile for their AI ethics dodge. Unstable sibling takes fall, proves our surveillance prevents repeat offenders. I'd been his alibi, his experiment, his stepping stone.
Enough.
Time to escalate. I leaked a teaser, an anonymous tip to ProPublica. Ethan's bribes redacted just enough to sting without snapping the thread. The next morning, his frantic call lit up my phone. Vic, you hear about this Goldman leak? Some hack job. Ruining good people. I feigned sympathy over oat milk lattes at Le Pain Quotidien. Awful. But secrets have a way of surfacing, don't they? Like family ones. His fork paused midair. Salmon trembling. What do you mean? I leaned forward. Victoria's poise a weapon.
Just that.
I've been digging into Hale's archives. For a memoir. You know? Legacy stuff.
Lie.
But it landed. Sweat beaded on his collar. Frey's memoir? Stay out of it.
Vic.
She's got issues. Issues. The word ignited something primal. That night, I dosed the ghost with experimental neural blockers from Hale's labs, zapped the echoes.
Consolidate the swap.
Victoria's voice faded to a murmur. But dreams came vicious, me and my old body, drowning in the river. Ethan's hands pushing down. Wakeful. I wired funds, Victoria's discretionary slush, to a PI firm. Dossiers arrived. Ethan's affair with his assistant, a Yale poli-sci dropout half his age, Lila's fertility struggles. IVF bills stacking like Jenga, and the kicker, Hale's will. Contested. Harlan hadn't left it all to Victoria. A codicil, 20% to trusted advisor E. Kane, Ethan's alias in the shadows. The board meeting at Hale Dynamics was my arena. Suited in Victoria's Armani, I strode into the oak-paneled sanctum, 20 execs rising like courtiers. "We're pivoting," I announced, projector humming to life with slides I'd forged overnight. From surveillance to accountability. Our new AI flags corruption in real time, starting with finance. Murmurs rippled. The CFO.
Apaunchi exhibe mesut. Balked.
That's regulatory suicide. MS.
Hale.
I smiled, clicking to a demo. Ethan's face. Blurred but unmistakable. Overlaid with bribe ledgers.
Gasps.
Hypothetical. Of course. But imagine the PR. They bought it. Votes snapping to my side. Power surged like the swap's first breath. Addictive. Absolute. Ethan's texts turned desperate. Lunch? Need advice. We met at the Four Seasons. His tie askew. Eyes hollowed by the ProPublica fallout. Reporters circled his brownstone. Lila's senator dad was reviewing ties.
Vic.
You're connected. Hale's got pull. Help me squash this. I buttered my lobster roll. Casual as a confessional. Why me? Ethan? You barely know Freya's circle. He leaned in, voice cracking. Because you're like her, stubborn.
Smart.
But Fry. She took the fall for something big once. Family debt. If this blows, it all unravels. There it was, the hook I'd baited. The accident? Mom's chair? His nod was a noose tightening. I was wasted.
Vic.
She covered, said it was her behind the wheel.
Save my ass. But now.
If they dig. I let silence stretch. Then, what if I could make it right? For a price. His eyes lit greed's old flame. Name it. Your shares in Hale. The F project stake. Sign over. And I bury it deeper than you ever could. He hesitated, then scrawled on the napkin proxy.
Deal.
But keep Fry out. She's fragile. Fragile. I pocketed the napkin. Victoria's laugh bubbling free. The gala after-party blurred into strategy. Marcus proposed, again, over caviar at per se. Ring glinting like a shackle. Marry me.
Vic.
We could run the world. I accepted. For the optics. But slipped another bug into his Aston Martin. By dawn, his offshore accounts pinged Hale servers, laundering for Ethan's bribes. Intertwined like kudzu. The ghost stirred faintly. You're destroying lives. Stop. But Freya whispered louder. They destroyed mine first. Phase 2. The twist of the knife. I summoned Ethan to the penthouse. Skyline storming outside. Sign the papers? He nodded, handing over the codicil transfer. Sweat slick. Now fix it. I poured scotch.
Neat.
Tell me everything. From the beginning. He spilled, the drunk drive. My confession. Hale's cover via surveillance footage he'd lost. But the bomb. Harlan knew about your MS.
Fry.
Said it was karma for the lie, made you the perfect patsy. He funded my rise to keep the secret chained.
Karma.
The word ignited the climax. I activated the penthouse's smart system. Hale Tech. Voice locked to me. Blinds slammed shut. Doors bolted. Ethan. You built your throne on my bones. His face drained.
Vic?
What the? I dropped the accent. Freya's queen's rasp bleeding through. It's me, asshole. Freya. Swapped in, soul deep. And you're done. Horror bloomed in his eyes as I cued the footage, not just the accident, but Hale's boardroom confession, recorded via my new bug network. Ethan's voice. Damning. Fry takes the fall, we all win. He lunged, but Victoria's body was a weapon, yoga-toned, Krav Maga from her exec self-defense classes. I sidestepped, tripping him into the coffee table's glass edge. No blood, just a thud. His gasp ragged. You can't, this is insane. Body swap. That's myth. I loomed. Phone dialing 911 on speaker. Tell them. Ethan. The hit and run.
The bribes.
Mom. He babbled denials. But the line connected. Officer? My brother's confessing to vehicular manslaughter. And fraud. Send units. Sirens wailed distant as he crawled, pleading. Fry. Please, family. Family. The word cracked something. The ghost surged. He's your blood. But I knelt. Voice steel. You said I'd never succeed. Watch me now. Cuffs clicked hours later. Ethan hauled away in the rain. Lila's screams echoing from the lobby. Forbes called at 6 a.m. MS. Hale, we're profiling rising billionaires. Your pivot to ethical AI? Revolutionary. But as the city stirred, Victoria's echo faded to silence, her body settling like a glove. Success tasted like ash sweet, then bitter. Ethan rotted in Rikers. Trial pending. Marcus bolted when the leaks hit him too. Mom wheeled into the penthouse, eyes wide at Victoria's generosity, never knowing the daughter beneath. I stared at the mirror, two faces blurring. Was it revenge or theft? Triumph or tragedy? The line dissolved, leaving me us, to rule the ruins. The Forbes interview loomed like a guillotine wrapped in velvet, 2 weeks to polish my facade before the world crowned me the ethical savior of big tech. But with Ethan in pre-trial lockdown at the Metropolitan Detention Center, his lawyers circling like vultures on a Bloomberg terminal, I couldn't afford cracks. The swap's aftershocks hit hardest in solitude, phantom tremors in Victoria's limbs. As if my MS nerves ghosted the muscle memory, nights where I'd wake screaming her name, not mine, convinced the mirror lied.
Dr.
Crow had vanished post-procedure, poof, into the ether of burner phones and Bitcoin drops, but his warning echoed. The host fights dirty. Bury it quick, or it'll bury you. I hired a shadow team, ex-CIA fixers posing as Victoria's wellness coaches, dosing me with nootropics to suppress the neural bleed. Morning started at SoulCycle and Flatiron, pedaling fury to the thump of EDM remixes, sweat blurring the line between exertion and exorcism. Afternoons bled into Hale boardrooms, where I greenlit the AI pivot, codenamed Redemption, with TED-worthy fanfare. We're not watching America, I'd declare to the suits. PowerPoint gleaming. We're safeguarding it. Internally, it was a Trojan horse, algorithms tuned to Ethan's patterns, flagging every crooked trade from his old firm. ProPublica ran the expose a month early. Courtesy of my anonymous feeds, headlines screamed, Wall Street's shadow network, with Ethan's mugshot the money shot. Lila called the penthouse line unlisted, but nothing sacred in Hale's web. Victoria?
It's
Lila Kane. Ethan's wife. Her voice cracked like fine china under heel. The Vassar polish chipped. They say he's confessing everything. The accident. The money. But Freya, God. My sister-in-law, she's missing.
Did he
Mention her? Sister-in-law. The term twisted like a knife in quinoa. I'd watched Lila's Instagram reels. Her boss babe brunches, masking the IVF tears. The Zoloft scripts hidden in Sephora bags. Innocent? Maybe. Complicit? Her senator dad had signed off on Hale contracts, bearing the F project under national security waivers. I cradled the receiver, Victoria's silk robe whispering against skin that still felt borrowed. Lila. Darling. Ethan's. Unraveling. But Freya? Last I heard, she was chasing ghosts in Brooklyn. A pause. Her breath hitching. If you see her, tell her. Ethan's sorry. For everything.
sorry?
The word was a spark in dry tinder. I hung up, summoning the fixers for a deep dive on Lila. Dossiers hit my inbox by Vespers, fertility clinic records, showing Ethan's sperm count tanked from stress, or coke-fueled benders at Scores. And the gem, emails to her father, pleading, Dad, Hale's leverage is killing us. Freya knows too much. Bury it with her. She'd known about the accident, the cover-up, even pushed Ethan to use my confession for his climb. Betrayal's family tree branched wide. Marcus, oblivious bliss in his Tribeca loft, proposed sealing the deal with a vow renewal, Vegas. Baby. With Elon as witness. Think of the press.
Vic.
Hale-Langford merger. I played along, booking the Bellagio suite. But en route on the Gulf Stream, I mirrored his phone. Text to the Yale mistress. Vic's too busy for the shit. Meeting Cabo? And financials. Siphoning Hale R&D into his crypto scam. A Ponzi dressed as NFT art. The ghost murmured approval. Cut him loose. Freya snarled. Make him bleed. Vegas hit like a fever, neon veins pulsing under desert skin. The Strip a carnival of excess, masking the suicides in every high-rise shadow. We helicoptered in, Marcus's hand on my thigh possessive as a lean. The chapel was gaudy kitsch, Elvis officiating in sequins. Vows exchanged under a fog of chronic smoke. I do, I breathe. Ring sliding cool on Victoria's finger. But my mind mapped exits, ballet cams hacked, blackjack dealers tipped. Post-ceremony. At Omnia's pool after dark. Bass thumping like a migraine. I slipped a Hale nanochip into his Rolex. For us, I toasted. Champagne fizzing lies. He grinned, pulling me into the cabana's haze. Bodies tangling in silk sheets that smelled of someone else's regret. Dawn cracked the blackout blinds. Marcus snoring beside me as I synced the chip to Hale's cloud. Jackpot. Transaction logs tying his fund to Ethan's bribes. A daisy chain of dark money looping back to Senator Kane. I forwarded it to the fixers. Leak selective. Make it personal. By poolside brunch. His phone buzzed. SEC inquiry. Assets frozen. What the fuck? Vic. He bolted up. Mimosa spilling like bloodless accusation. I arched a brow. Victoria's nonchalance a shield. Darling. Markets fluctuate. Yours just cratered. His slap came fast, palm stinging my cheek. The ghost recoiling in shock. Freya surged. I grabbed his wrist, twisting with Krav precision, his yelp echoing off the palm fronds. Touch me again. And it's not the SEC you'll fear, it's me. He fled to the airport, tail between legs. But not before I drained our joint account. $4.2 mil rerouted to Mom's Care Trust. Anonymous as a good Samaritan. The flight back to JFK, was solitary. Turbulence mirroring the churn in my gut. Success? It tasted like solitude, echoes of two women warring in one skull. Forbes' prep call came mid-Atlantic. MS.
Hail.
We're framing you as the anti-Silicon Valley, whistleblower chic. Any family angles? Tragic backstories sell. Family. I laughed into the void.
Oh. Plenty.
A brother who bet against me. Now he's paying the piper. Manhattan welcomed me with autumn bite. Central Park's leaves bleeding red like warnings ignored. Mom's new assisted living in Westchester was a far cry from the Queen's walk-up, private suite. Physical therapy bots humming hail tech. I visited incognito. Baseball cap low. Signing in as Victoria's assistant. She wheeled to the solarium. Eyes sharpening on my face. Freya's ghost in Victoria's shell. You look familiar.
Dear.
Like my girl. Heart hammered. Freya?
She's
Away. But she loves you. We played Scrabble. Her gnarled hands, mirrors of my old ones, spelling revenge unprompted. For the accident, she murmured. Ethan's mess. I knew.
Confessin hum.
Then dissolved in tea steam. As I left, her whisper chased. Tell her to come home. Home. The penthouse felt less fortress. More cage. That night, the board coup brewed. Old Hale loyalists. Smelling blood in the pivot. Plotted my ouster. I countered with leverage, dossiers on their mistresses, their kickbacks sent via encrypted drops. One resigned via yacht from Monaco, another retired to a Florida plea deal. Power consolidated, but the cost mounted. Migraines like swap scars. Therapy sessions with a Park Avenue shrink who prescribed mindfulness for what she called imposter syndrome. Imposter? Honey, I was the original. Ethan's trial prep leaked via my plants. Insanity plea. Blaming sister's delusion for the confessions. Delusion. Rage boiled. I visited him in detention. Plexiglass between us like the swap's veil. Orange jumpsuit hung loose on his frame. Eyes feral. Fry? Jesus. It is you. That clinic, Crow sold me the same pitch years ago. For a test run.
But you.
You stole her life. Twist one, he'd known about the swaps. Hale's black budget R&D for elite transfers. Harlan tested on junkies first. Gave me the edge for Goldman. Your MS? He amplified it. Post-accident. To keep you quiet. Insurance. Amplified. The room spun. Not fate, but sabotage. Hale's neural toxin. Masked as disease progression. To silence the patsy. Ethan's grin cracked through bars. You think you're winning? Victoria's fighting back. Check the dreams. And Lila. She's got dad's pull. Drop charges. Or she unmasks you. Threat laced with plea. I press the intercom. Too late. Brother. Forbes hits stands next month. Your legacy? Footnote in my rise. As guards led him away, his laugh echoed. Success? It's her cage now.
Fry.
Not yours. The ghost roared that night. Victoria's memories flooding, childhood equestrian ribbons. Harlan's cold approbation. The gala where roofies stole her agency. Give it back. Or I'll take Ethan down with us. I upped the blockers, but cracks spiderwebbed, handshake slips at investor meets. Whispers of Hale's offer game. Lila's ambush came at a Met Gala after-party. Soho loft pulsing with A-listers. She cornered me by the charcuterie. Chanel no. 5 cutting the weed haze. Victoria, Or should I say Freya? Ethan's ravings make sense now. The swap rumors in tech circles? Harlan's pet project. Her eyes, puffy from crying jags, hardened to steel. I knew about the accident, hated it.
But you?
Stealing lives? That's not justice, it's madness. Debate crackled. Victim or villain? I sipped my Sazerac.
Steady.
You profited. Lila. Senator Kane's polls soared on Hale contracts. What's your price for silence? She recoiled, then leaned in, voice venom. My family. Drop the charges. Or I leak the clinic logs. Crow's manifest has your DNA match. Front page. Billionaire body snatcher.
Stalemate.
I nodded, feigning retreat. But as she turned, I palmed her phone. Hale slight. Invisible. By limo ride home. It synced. Text to a reporter. Hale's scoop. Bigger than Theranos. Counterstrike. I framed her for the leak. Planting metadata trails from her IP to Ethan's bribes. Morning headlines. Senator's daughter in embezzlement probe. Lila's world imploded. Divorce papers served poolside. Her dad's endorsement yanked. Victory tasted Pyrrhic. Ashes on Victoria's tongue. Forbes photo shoot at the penthouse. Strobes flashing like interrogation lamps. Me in cream cashmere. Skyline halo. Tell us. Victoria. The writer probed. Notebook poised. What drives a woman like you? Betrayal? Redemption? I smiled for the lens. Words honed. My brother said I'd never succeed. But from ashes, empires rise.
Click.
The issue dropped digital first. Shares spiking 15%. Billionaire. But in the quiet after, the ghost and I merged uneasy. Freya's grit. Victoria's grace. A hybrid haunting the glass. Billionaire status hit like a freight train derailing into champagne toasts. Hale stock mooned. Interview clips viraling on TikTok with girlboss anthems. While Ethan's arraignment devolved into circus sideshow. Paparazzi flashbulbs popping like acne scars on his fall from grace. I fielded calls from Oprah's producers. Soul swap story? Kidding, ethical AI deep dive. Timed perfectly to drown Lila's whispers. But power's pinnacle is vertigo. One slip, and the plummet exposes the fraud beneath. The blockers faltered. Victoria's memories intruded daytime now. Flashes of boardroom battles I'd never fought. Her fiancé's Marcus's, touch mapped to muscle. Repulsing like poison ivy. I retreated to the Hamptons estate. Harlan's legacy, a shingle-style behemoth on Georgica Pond. Dunes whispering secrets to the Atlantic roar. There, amid lobster rolls at Nick and Tony's and polo matches where hedge funders bet Ferraris on checkers, I rebuilt. New team, a McKinsey whiz for the pivot rollout, a Glossier-backed publicist to spin Victoria 2.0, and a discreet neurospecialist, Crow's rival. Poached from Johns Hopkins to map the swap scars. Synaptic entanglement, she diagnosed over Zoom from her lab. Scans glowing like alien hieroglyphs. Two consciousnesses cohabiting, stress accelerates bleed. Recommendation: integrate. Don't suppress. Embrace the duality. Embrace. Easier preached in tweed blazers than lived in Lululemon. Nights by the infinity pool. Stars pricking the ink-black sky. I'd journal. Freya's scrawl bleeding into Victoria's cursive. Ethan deserved the cage. But Mom's eyes haunted. Lila's kids. Collateral. Am I Avenger or Abyss? The specialist prescribed EMDR sessions, reliving the swap under guided hypnosis. The river dump of my old shell. Waited. Ruled overdose by a Newark coroner on payroll. Waking, I'd swim laps until exhaustion. Water sluicing the hybrid skin. But the question gnawed. Was success absolution? Or just a prettier prison? Back in the city, the counteroffensive launched. Ethan's legal dream team, Kirkland and Ellis Sharks, filed motions to suppress, claiming coerced confession under duress, hinting at my instability. Subpoenas flew for Hale Records. Sniffing the F project. I lawyered up with Quinn Emanuel. War rooming in the conference suite. Plausible deniability, lead counsel barked. Cigar stubbed in a crystal ashtray. We pivot the narrative. Victoria Hale. Victim of familial sabotage. Ethan's the saboteur. Victim. The word chafed. I'd engineered this. Body and board. Lila's desperation peaked via courier. A manila envelope to the penthouse. No return. Inside, clinic manifest photocopy. My Freya's printout. Timestamped. Note in her looping script. He's rotting for your grudge. Call off the dogs. Or this hits Vanity Fair. Our kids deserve better.
Kids.
Plural now. IVF miracle. Announced pre-scandal on her now-deleted Insta. Guilt's hooks sank deep. Controversial calculus. One brother's fall for a family's fracture? I burned the manifest in the fireplace. Ashes swirling like aborted truths. But texted her burner meet. Neutral ground. One chance. The meet was a dive bar in Red Hook, Brooklyn, Freya's old haunt. Graffiti-tagged walls exhaling dive bar ghosts of PBR and regret. She slid into the booth. Postpartum pooch hidden under a Barber jacket. Eyes shadowed like raccoon mascara. Freya. No question.
Just fact.
I slid her a seltzer. Lime wedge bobbing like a truce flag.
How?
She shrugged. Voice threadbare. Ethan's ramblings. Then the dreams, Victoria's. Leaking through therapy apps. Hale, tech in my phone. Synced your episodes. Tech betrayal. Full circle. We talked, raw, unfiltered, her complicity born of love's blindfold. Pushing Ethan to fix the accident with Hale's strings, my swap as nuclear option. MS not just disease, but weaponized curse. Drop it, she pleaded. Hand on mine, Victoria's.
Steady.
Plea deal. Time served. Restitution to mom. We rebuild quiet. Temptation lapped like the East River outside. Controversial decision. Mercy as masterstroke. Or weakness. The ghost, Victoria, whispered assent. End the cycle. Freya recoiled. He amplified your pain. Stalemate shattered by my phone. Prosecutor's office. Ethan's suicide watch triggered. Attempted. Pills and holding. Blames you. Sister demon. Lila fled into the night. Our pact and signed. I drove to MDC under cover of dusk. Badge flashed. Hale influence buying visitor slots. Ethan behind bars. Four-dripped and hollow-cheeked. Sneered through the partition. Come to gloat.
It ain't.
His voice. Whiskey rough from screams. Forbes called it you're the phoenix. But fire burns both ways. He slid a note under the slot. Coordinates. Jersey warehouse. Crow's stash. Proof you're the monster. Swap logs. Victim vids. Leak it. Or rot with me. Monster. The label stuck like tar. I pocketed the note, leaving him to his drip. Dawn raid on the warehouse. Fixers in black tactical. Me in the shadows with a Glock. Victoria's range practice paying dividends. Inside. Servers hummed like cicadas. Drives yanked into Faraday bags. Proof: dozens of swaps, CEOs body jumping for immortality, politicians for alibis. Harlan's opus, Ethan's beta tester. And me, file labeled Frivik, neural scans showing the bleed accelerating. Endgame, full merge or madness. The specialist confirmed over encrypted line. 6 months.
Tops.
Integrate via immersion, live both lives. Reconcile. Immersion. I started small, donating Victoria's closet to women's shelters. Freya's thrift ethos, coding AI ethics patches late nights. Her Wharton smarts fused with my street hack grit. Publicly, the pivot soared, Redemption AI beta launched at South by Southwest. Accolades raining like Austin barbecue sauce. Privately, the merge warred, Victoria's elegance clashing Freya's edge. Dreams of dual graves. Twist brewed in the will contest, Harlan's estate lawyers unearthed the codicil, Ethan's 20%. But clawed back via undue influence. My counter, full audit. Exposing the slush. Billions shifted. But so did loyalties, board whispers of Hale's unraveling, stocks dipping on rumor mills. Marcus resurfaced. Slimy via email. Miss you.
Babe.
SEC cleared. Let's talk merger. Deleted. Blocked. But his shadow lingered. A reminder. Success invites serpents. Mom's birthday gala. I threw it at the frick. String quartet lilting Vivaldi over fingerlings and flutes. She wheeled in, resplendent in rented Chanel. Guests cooing over Victoria's generosity. As cake cut, chocolate ganache. Her favorite, her eyes locked mine. Freya? Whisper. Just for us. I knelt. Tears whose, hot. Always. Mom. Embrace. Frail arms steel. But as flashbulbs popped, Lila crashed the gate. Envelope in hand, the manifest. Originals. Tell them, she shrieked to the crowd. Security swarming. Chaos, reporters swiveling. Body swap scandal? I snatched it. Voice booming Victoria's command. Misunderstanding. Ex-sister-in-law. Grief-stricken. Fixers whisked her out. But damage control spun. Mental health awareness pivot. Stocks rebounded. But the ghost laughed. Exposed. Freya plotted. Leak counter. Lila's complicity docs. Time to her custody hearing. Controversial? Utterly. Kids as pawns? Ethan's sin. Echoed. Forbes follow-up. Billionaire's burden. Hale on family feuds. I posed pensively by the pond. Narrative owned. Betrayal forged me.
Now.
I forge ahead. Printed. It sold, but in the margin, Ethan scrawled addendum from prison mail. Warehouse was bait. Real proofs with Crow. He's coming for you. Crow's shadow loomed larger than Ethan's cell block regrets. A specter stitched from black market myths and half-erased forum posts. Post-gala fallout. With Lila institutionalized at Silver Hill, exhaustion, the spin went. I mobilized the fixers for a deep net trawl, tore nodes. Dark web crawlers sniffing for the docks trail. Hits pinged sporadic, a Cayman Shell Corp wiring neural pharma. Sightings in Bangkok clinics peddling youth serums. He'd gone global. But America pulled him back like gravity's grudge. A lead surfaced. Flight manifest. Crow alias bound for Dulles. Cargo manifest listing medical prototypes. I intercepted at a Langley-adjacent motel. The kind with vacancy signs flickering like bad omens. Parking lot littered with Winnebagos and regret. Disguised in a brunette wig and off-rack gap, Freya's camouflage, I tailed him to room 17. Door cracked on a pay-per-view hum. Inside. He hunched over a laptop. face gaunt under sodium lamps, nursing a flask that sloshed like unspoken sins. "Elias?" I called. Voice hybrid, Victoria's lilt laced with Queen's bite. He spun, flask clattering, eyes widening like a caught lab rat.
"You. The swap bitch."
"Knew you'd hunt." No preamble. I zip-tied his wrists to the radiator. Hail gadget quick release for deniability. The proof. Ethan's stash was fake. Yours is real. Logs. Vids. The works. He chuckled. Phlegm rattling. Smart girl. Harlan's folly swaps for the elite. Souls as currency.
But you?
First success without psychosis. Or so you think. He nodded to the laptop. Screen blooming with files, victim montages, junkies mid-transfer screaming silent eternities, Harlan's suicide note. The merges multiply, end it. And mine, pre-swap Freya. MS ravaged. Injected post-accident with Crow's ampoule. Harlan's order via Ethan. Silence the witness permanently.
Permanently.
Rage crested. But the ghost, Victoria, tempered. Use him. Fix the bleed, I demanded. Gun, Victoria's Beretta, steady on his knee. Integrate fully. Or I ventilate your legacy. He bartered. Antidote serum. Experimental. Merges the streams, but risks total wipe. One mind. Or none. Deal struck in the motel's moldy hush. Syringe plunged. Fire lancing my veins like swap echo. Visions collided. Freya's juvie cell merging with Victoria's debutante ball. Ethan's sneer fusing Harlan's disdain. Collapse. Then clarity. Duality dissolving into hybrid resolve. Freya Victoria. Avenger heiress. Seamless as a tailored seam. Revived. I torched the drive, flames devouring digital graves, leaving Crow zip-tied for FBI pickup. Anonymous tip queued. Dawn broke bloody over the Potomac as I jetted back. Serum humming in my blood like rocket fuel. The merge felt.
Right.
No more whispers, just amplified instinct. Freya's grit sharpening Victoria's blade. Board reconvened. Pivot accelerated. Redemption AI now flagged political corrupt. Senator Kane's campaign's first casualty. Donations dried like bad Botox. Ethan's trial exploded midstream. My testimony the grenade. Your honor. My brother's not just a felon, he's a saboteur of souls. Gasps rippled the gallery. Lila absent. Medicated into silence. Exhibits, scrubbed emails. Hale audits. The accident dashcam recovered from Crow's cache. Ethan's cross-exam was a farce, his lawyer fumbling. MS.
Hale.
Allegations of identity flux. I leaned into the mic. Hybrid poise unyielding. Flux? No. Evolution. He bet against me. I rose. Jury deliberated 3 hours. Guilty on all. Manslaughter. Fraud. Conspiracy. Sentence. 25 to life.
No parole.
As marshals cuffed him. His eyes met mine defeat. Then flicker. Pride? You did it.
Fry.
Succeeded. Succeeded. The word echoed in the empty courtroom. Marble cold under heels.
Outside.
Mom waited in the town car. Her nod silent approval. Heard the verdict.
Proud.
Whoever you are. Hybrid heart swelled. Love's universal language. But climax crested not in court, but code. Redemption's beta run uncovered the motherlode, a nested server in Hale's Arctic data farm. Swaps archived for the cabal, CEOs. Senators. Even a Veep hopeful. Bodies traded like blue chips. I greenlit the dump, WikiLeaks style, redacted for innocence, timed to Forbes anniversary print. Billionaire's Reckoning, they titled. My byline ghosted. Markets tanked, then rebounded on ethical buys. Indictments flew like confetti at a funeral. Marcus's reckoning was intimate, tracked to a Cayman yacht, mid-debauch with the Yale girl. Fixers boarded at dusk. Ziplines from chopper shadows. Me on comms. Assets seized. Accounts frozen. Sign the NDA. Or swim with the stingrays. He signed, weeping. Vic, Freya, mercy?
No merci.
But a parachute, seed fund for ethical startups. His penance. As the chopper lifted, his silhouette shrank to speck, another doubter downsized. Public adoration peaked. TED Talk in Vancouver. From betrayal to billions, owning your shadow self, standing thundering like applause for the dead. Backstage. The specialist scanned. Merge complete.
You're whole. Whole.
But wholeness weighed heavy. Successes shadow long. Lila's release coincided with Ethan's appeal denial. She reached out via therapist-vetted letter. Grieve together? For the kids. For mom. Controversial olive branch. Forgive the enabler? I met her at a neutral park in Prospect. Autumn leaves crunching underfoot like brittle truces. Her twins gurgled in a double stroller. Innocence weaponized. Frey Victoria, she said.
No accusation.
We all swapped pieces, love for lies. We walked. Words weaving tentative, shared custody of truths. Co-parenting mom's care. Not absolution, but adjacency, debate fodder for therapy couches. The ghost, now me, settled. But dreams evolved, not hauntings, but futures.
Me.
Hybrid. Testifying before Congress on AI ethics. Mom ambulatory on Hale prosthetics. Ethan. Paroled gray. Writing prison lit that humanized the monster. Success was an endpoint. It was evolution. Controversial in its gray. Yet tension coiled. You dark undercurrent. Crow's loose ends. A final file from the fixers. His Bangkok clinic raided. Serum seized, but one vial missing.
Labeled FV prototype.
Stolen? By whom? The question lingered. A hook for the abyss. The missing vial haunted like a loose thread in a bespoke suit. Pull it, and the empire unravels. Post-trial glow faded into winter's bite. Manhattan streets slick with slush and seasonal effect, as I fortified Hale's ramparts. Security audit, retinal upgrades, AI sentinels patrolling server farms like digital Dobermans. The hybrid mind thrummed efficient, Freya's paranoia scripting firewalls. Victoria's strategy allocating budgets, but doubt's whisper persisted. Who held the prototype?
Arrival's guape.
Harlan's ghost heir. Or worse, Ethan's jailhouse ally. Bartering for appeal? Forbes Billionaire Summit in Aspen was the arena. Powder-dusted peaks framing egos inflated as the Ritz's down pillows. Keynotes on disruptive empathy. I keynote closing. Success isn't summit, it's the shadows we climb through. Applause crashed, but backstage. A face from the crowd lingered, Dr. Crow? No. A doppelganger. Gaunt and grinning. Badge Elias Crow too. Son? Imposter? He slipped a card. We need to talk. The vial's key to ending it all. Ending. Ambiguous as a prenup. I tailed him to a backcountry cabin. Fixers on drone overwatch. Snow crunching under UGGs, Freya's practical choice. Inside. Fire crackling birch logs. He poured bourbon neat. Dad's work. Genius.
Flawed.
The prototype? amplifies merges, creates hives, collective consciousness for the elite. Harlan wanted it for board immortality. Twist reversed. Not theft, but evolution. Crow's heir, legit. Disowned, offered alliance. Join, or it joins you. Rivals already swapping your pivot? Obsolete.
Hive.
The hybrid recoiled. Individuality's death. Controversial utopia or dystopia. Debate raged internal. Freya's lone wolf snarl versus Victoria's network or nod. I stalled. Proof. He cued a holoproj. Hail tech. Pirated. Vials in Zurich vaults. Test subjects merged into one. Minds linked like blockchain souls. And the reversal. Ethan's involvement. Pre-prison. He funded the hive via bribes, saw it as escape. Your swap? Beta for the big one. Ethan. Not victim. Visionary? The truth inverted. His doubts a feint. Pushing me toward the clinic. Knowing the MS amp will prime me for transfer. Betrayal's Mobius strip. Looping deeper. I decline the hive. Smashing the projector. Sparks flying like rejected stars. Tell your cabal hails mine. Ethical. Individual. He laughed. Fleeing into the squall. But not before a prick, syringe graze. Vial contents microdosed. Rush hit. Visions of merged masses. Ethan's face grinning coral. Back in Aspen. Lockdown. Specialist helicoptered in. Antidotes pumping. Resisted, she pronounced. Scans clear. But the seed planted. Hive's call. Subtle siren. Spring thawed the tensions. Ethan's appeal crushed. Lila co-parenting tentative. Playdates with mom. Twins cooing at hybrid ants. Marcus's fund launched green. Solar startups. Ironic redemption. Publicly. I reigned. Time's guardian of the algorithm. Book deal inked for swapped shadows. Privately. The merge stabilized. But dreams debated. Hive as salvation. Linking broken bodies worldwide? Or tyranny? Souls commodified? Climax crashed in Zurich. Rivals struck. Black Ops team raiding the vaults for the hive core.
Countert, Galledrukken Swarming.
Fixers dropping from private jets like action flick Avengers. Gunfire echoed off Alpine echoes. No gore but tension taut as bowstring. I cornered the lead, Crow 2, vial in hand. Join us, he urged, serum glinting. End the fractures. Controversial crux. Inject. Merge infinite, or shatter. Reclaim singular. I shattered. Bullet casing the vial. Shards glittering like failed stars. Singular's the fight. He fled wounded. Cabal fracturing in the fallout. Leaks followed. Hive exposed. Swap shuttered by Interpol warrants. Hail pivoted pure. AI for equity. Not eternity. Ending blurred lines. By, or tragedy. Ethan wrote from prison. Letter smudged. You won. Sis. But success? It's the doubt that drives. Mom passed gentle. Merge mind holding her hand. Whispering dual lullabies. Lila raised the twins hybrid haunted. Occasional brunches debating ethics over mimosas.
Me?
Billionaire unbound. Forbes follow-ups fading to legacy. But in quiet penthouse dawns. Skyline stirring. I trace the mirror, Freya's fire in Victoria's eyes. Vengeance sated. But the real twist. We were always one. Doubts the swap we chose. Readers argue. Hero or horror. Triumph or trap. The debate endures. As does the drive.